Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. It Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hey, happy Thursday. I am here for episode 160. Choose joy is not toxic positivity. So I just got off of a family vacation in Colombia. We spent a whole week there, over a week there. And as you know, my family cruise vacation back in June didn't quite go so well because it led to some vacation burnout. Because for any mom, parent, dad, taking kids on a trip, and that's what it was, a trip. I learned that it wasn't a vacation, it was just a trip. But it's almost like parenting in another zip code. And I created a whole podcast episode about vacation burnout because I got vacation burnout from that trip. And I won't lie, I really did feel hopeless about this upcoming family trip because I was just like, oh, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be stressful again? Is it going to feel like burnout and all the things? Because when the kids act up, it really does drain us as parents. And when we are drained as parents, that can cause friction for the two of us as well as the mom and dad. So, of course, in anticipation of the upcoming trip, I was just like, all right, guys, we can do this. Positive affirmations with the family. We're going to have our best family trip ever. We can do this. Guys, let's choose joy on this trip. Let's pack our patience on this trip. Let's be flexible. Let's not whine. Let's leave our tears. Of course, I told my 5-year-old to leave his tears off the cruise, but that didn't help. He brought so many tears to that trip. So with that said, when we started this trip in Colombia, my husband really took that on, that whole choose joy concept, to the point where even when I wasn't smiling, he's like, choose joy, choose joy. Because you're not always smiling, right? Even if you feel joy or even when you're happy, you're not always smiling. And for me, I have such a great smile. It's so contagious. It just exudes joy, right? So when I'm not smiling, I probably have what we might call a RBF. I'm just showing you, right? And anytime I'm not smiling, my husband would be like, choose joy, choose joy, choose joy. And so I'm just like, okay, fine. You throwing my brand back up in my face. I got you. I see what you're doing there. But also, choosing joy doesn't always mean putting a smile on your face. It doesn't always feel like you're going to feel the happiness from choosing the joy, but it's more so of a concept, a perspective of how you change your mind. And adopting it is really good, especially for family vacations. I knew my brand had officially become a part of my family's culture on that trip because every time something did go wrong, or didn't go as planned, somebody would just laugh and say, choose joy. So not only was it my husband, it was also my sisters-in-law. So we would just laugh about it because let's face it, not that things went wrong, but there were a lot of plans that changed like last minute. I almost felt like we were on The Amazing Race because we didn't know what we were doing the next day until like a few hours ahead of time. So I'm just like, okay. So it's just like sometimes on trips, like you just can't know what's going to happen until it's happening because there was a lot of pieces that we weren't in control of. We were there for my father-in-law's 80th birthday, happy birthday. And of course, other people were planning things. So it's just like, you got to go with the flow. Long line at an airport, choose joy. Someone's exhausted, choose joy. Plans change, choose joy. So it became like this running joke on the trip, like, choose joy, let's do it. But somewhere between all that laughter, I realized, that's actually what choosing joy is about. It's saying it, laughing about it, changing your perspective about how you think. And the reason the title is Choose Joy is not toxic positivity, because, you know, toxic positivity is thinking that you are ignoring the issue that's happening or the challenge that's happening, or that you're pretending like the issue is not happening just to be like choosing joy. But no, that's not what it is. It's not this. I'm pretending that the issue doesn't exist. I'm pretending that that loved one didn't die. I'm pretending that my trauma didn't happen. I'm pretending that stress isn't happening or that I'm not overwhelmed. But it really is the fact that you have such power and strength in your mindset that literally making the decision to choose joy can change how you see something. You cannot change situations or things that are happening around you, but you can change how you think about it. So the big lesson here is that choosing joy isn't pretending life is perfect. It's simply choosing your response when life isn't perfect. You can choose how you respond. You can cry or you can laugh. And honestly, I feel like thanks, Juan. Thank you. Shout out to my husband for him like joking about the brand, because he knew, like, oh my God, the cruise in June was so stressful. So he's just like, I gotta do something to make this a better trip. So us just saying all the time, choose joy, that made us have a joyous trip. And it really was one of the best trips. My heart is so full. And right now I'm in Vegas. Everybody who knows me knows why I'm in Vegas. But I'm here as Dr. Enjoy. So we won't talk about that reason I'm in Vegas unless you already know. But the huge difference in choosing joy, as far as thinking of it as how you respond and changing your perspective, is not saying don't be upset. I mean, you can get upset. You get angry, things happen, you become upset. It's not saying don't be upset. It's saying it's okay to be disappointed. So now what? It's okay to be disappointed. Now what? Now that I'm disappointed, now what? Am I going to dwell in that disappointment, or am I going to let it go? Am I going to have peace with it? Am I going to just put it in the parking lot and deal with it later? My sister-in-law even said, she was like, you know what? I like this whole choose joy thing, because she was stressed out about something. And she says, I'm going to focus on my trip. I'm not going to focus on that thing that's happening at home. Maybe I'll deal with it later. But right now, I'm going to choose joy. So maybe it means focusing on the present and getting out of your head and not getting anxious about something happening at home or something happening in the past or something that may happen in the future. Of course, last week I talked about your intuition versus anxiety. That anxiety really can help you live in your head and help you have fear. Is it a fearful thing, or is it intuition? Is it that quiet voice telling you what to do? Usually that quiet voice is just telling you, look, be present in the moment, deal with the thing later if you can, and focus on what's happening so that you actually can have a vacation. This whole thing isn't about vacation. It just so happens that the vacation last week is what inspired this episode. So literally, there are like myths out there about choosing joy and what that means, and is it toxic positivity? No, it's not toxic positivity. But literally, one myth is that choosing joy means ignoring your emotions. Like, I'm just going to put a mask on. And I have a lot of patients, especially Black females, who put a mask on their emotions. Like, I'm just going to pretend to be happy because I need to be everything for everyone, and I need to be a superhero, and I just need to keep going and not show what's going on. I need to ignore my emotions. That's not what joy is all about, because you really aren't experiencing joy if you just ignore your emotions. That's not what it is. You can be tired and joyful. You can be disappointed and grateful. You can be frustrated and hopeful. That's really good pairing to get together. You can be frustrated about something, but hopeful that you're going to get through it and hopeful that you can get better. Because you can get through it easier, especially if you're hopeful in the midst of that more negative emotion. Joy and difficult emotions can coexist. I do believe it's hard to be anxious and grateful at the same time. So although, there are difficult emotions that can go along with joy, I feel like anxiety and gratefulness are difficult to be together, which is why I always say practice gratitude, because you're grateful about something. You're not fearful at the same time about that thing too. So see what I'm saying there? So the myth number one is choosing joy means ignoring your emotions. Nope, nope, nope. That's not what it means. Myth number two: choosing joy means everything worked out. I mean, of course, if everything works out, you're going to feel joy. You're going to feel happy, peace, and content. But just because you're choosing joy doesn't mean you have to wait for it to work out, or doesn't mean that it did work out. Sometimes nothing changes except your perspective about the situation. You can think differently about it. So I can get upset that plans change or that things didn't work out, or I can say, it's okay. So on Sunday, when we were flying back from Colombia, we started our travel day at 2 a.m. We got up and we got on our flight, and then we had a layover in Bogota, Colombia, and then we got on our other flight. And so I was just so happy because that meant that we were going to land at 3 p.m. on Sunday because I had a flight to Vegas the very next day, had to be there at 6 a.m., something like that. So I'm like, cool. Landing at 3 p.m. the previous day, that's plenty of time to kind of sort of relax and pack and get ready, laundry and all those things before Monday. But plans change, things happen, life happens. And so there was a storm in Atlanta and we could not land in Atlanta. And like my heart's beating, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get my flight. What's gonna happen? And so they're like, yeah, we're in a holding pattern flying over or near Atlanta. We're not sure if we're gonna be able to land. We have to do this for another hour. So therefore that's a 1 hour that we're delayed already. And they're like, well, we might have to decide what to do after an hour. I'm like, what do you mean decide? Let's land in Atlanta. So then an hour goes by and they're like, yeah, so the storm's still here. So we're gonna go to Charlotte. I said, oh no, Charlotte. So as I'm hearing this news, of course I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. But at the same time, I'm like, it's going to work out. It is okay. I'm hopeful that it's going to work out and that I will make my flight. So I wasn't there like panicking and stressed out. I was not comfortable with this idea, but I was still calm with it. My perspective changed too because I said, yeah, it would have been nice to get home by 5 p.m. that evening, but as long as I make it to my flight the next day, I'm like, I just want to make it to my gate by 7:45 a.m. So in that perspective changing, I decided that sleep just wasn't going to be important because if I'm going to stress out about sleep, then that's what's really going to make me get stressed out about the flights being delayed. So we got to Charlotte. Then there was a whole nother thing because I remember the last time this happened where we had to go to another city, divert to another city. They made us get off the plane and go through customs. And that was a whole nother 2 hours. And then the flight crew got timed out. So we had to wait for a whole flight crew. So we didn't go home till 1 a.m. So I started remembering that. I said, okay, I could stress out about it or I could choose joy. So I said, everything's gonna work out. I'm gonna stay calm. There's really no reason for me to stress out because if it worked out, how am I gonna stress out? Heart racing, thinking the worst, and my racing thoughts and overthinking and what ifs and all of that for nothing if everything actually works out. So I told myself, I'm gonna still remain calm. It is okay. I'm gonna make my flight. So that's that changing my perspective. That's that positive thinking, choosing joy. It's all in the mindset, right? And so when we got to Charlotte, lo and behold, we did not have to get off the plane. They did not make us go through customs. They did get the fuel that they need because that was right. We diverted, that we had to get some fuel. Everything's for safety too. That's another thing we could all tell ourselves. It's for safety. They don't want us to travel through the storm to try to land just to get there on time or try to land without fuel. We made it safely. So then we got back in the air. And another cool perspective is that the World Cup, the final World Cup game was going on at the same time. So now everybody on the plane is watching the game. Literally, like 90% of the people, their little TVs playing the game. So everybody's like excited. And it's mostly Colombians on the plane because we're coming from Colombia. So of course everybody's rooting against Argentina. So everybody's like happy and it was a really good experience. So we could have been stressed out about it, but sounds like we all chose joy and decided to focus on the TV. And that's another thing. Distracting yourself in the face of stress can be helpful. So, distracting yourself with joy, why not? And I did find myself at one point before all this, before the game and all that, sitting and I'm just like, "Oh boy." But then I decided, like, I always like to watch The Office when I'm on the plane, and I rewatched those episodes so many times. So I was just like, "Okay, let me stop getting in my head, let's watch The Office." Of course, that creates laughs. So choosing joy can involve getting distracted. It's not ignoring it, it's just distracting yourself from getting into the anxiety about the situation or about the stress of the situation. You got a issue with finances, you can't pay that bill. If you're gonna dwell on it, that's not gonna change it unless you're creating a strategic plan about how to pay that bill. So you stressing out about something that you have no control over, all that's doing is impacting your physical health. So, no, choosing joy is not toxic positivity. It's not ignoring it. It's being able to get your mind to be at a level point so that maybe you can make a strategy or a plan of how to get through that stressor, how to pay that bill, how to get through that financial stressor, how to get through the relationship stressor. Because when you are stressed out, as I mentioned, you're in this fight or flight mode. Your lobe and your executive functioning is down, so you can't even plan. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important for you to chill and choose joy. Because how are you going to make a plan? You're going to make things worse for yourself if you can't calm yourself down and be able to make a plan, a really good plan of getting through that stressful situation. So, choose joy is a statement, but it even turned into a mantra for us, like that we laughed over it and to remind us, okay, this could be potentially stressful, all these plans changing, but we're going to choose joy. And choosing joy meant let's be flexible, let's be patient, let's enjoy ourselves despite what's going on because it could have potentially been a stressful trip, but it wasn't. It turned out to be one of the best family trips ever because of that mantra of choose joy. My husband said, no, actually, my son, my 4-year-old, in the face of depression, choose joy. We would keep repeating that. And it's funny. It's like, what do you mean choose joy in the face of depression? But you can. You can do it and you can change your perspective. I'm a psychiatrist, so when I talk to my patients all the time, I implement therapy, even though I'm doing the medication. And, it sounds fluffy, the gratitude, the positive affirmations, the grounding techniques, but it really does work. Your mind is so powerful. Myth number 3, joy is a feeling. Mm-mm, it's not just a feeling, it's often a decision. You can make the decision to practice joy. Of course, that word practice means that it takes work. Not every day, not every moment, but many, many moments you are actively choosing joy and making the decision to enter into your journey or joy. Joy is a lifelong practice. So it is important for you to know that you can choose it despite what's going on in your situation, despite being exhausted, despite changes in the family, despite back to back trips that you have to do, wife, mom, boss, all the things that you have to do, being everything to everyone, getting burnt out, forgetting what you really want to do, not being able to do self care and all those things, and getting drained. You can still find moments of joy despite all of that. Not because everything is easy, but because everyone kept reminding us on that trip to choose joy. And, that's just the mantra for the trip, but that should be a mantra for our lives. Choose joy because life be life in. And it is important for us to be able to, even be light in those moments. I'm always light. I'm always joking around. Even here in Vegas, there's a whole lot of us here. It's 27,000 of us here. And you got to really practice patience here. And, there's different hotels we have to get to. There's shuttles and all that. And people are getting upset about needing to get transported to the next hotel because there's so many of us, and it's just a matter of relax. I joke about all the things, and so I think it's okay to joke, to laugh, especially when things are stressful, especially when it's a lot of people. Patience is important. The biggest compliment I've ever received wasn't someone buying my book or listening to my podcast. It was hearing my family repeat, choose joy without me saying it first. I was just sitting back like, this is pretty cool. This is something. Like my brand means that much to them. And at first I felt like it was like making fun of my brand. I was like, honey, or throwing it up in my face because I wasn't smiling and making it seem like, see, it's not that easy to choose joy. That's how I felt about at first. I'm like, don't be making fun of my brand like that. But then it was just like, no, they felt it. They felt that there was a reason to choose joy. So that told me something bigger than my brand has been created. A mindset had become part of our family's culture, literally. And they're still talking about it. I generally think that that is so important. Your mind, how you think about things, changes the outcome. It is up to you how you respond to things. Somebody can make you feel upset and trigger you. They could push your button, or you don't have to have a button there in the first place to be triggered. And if you are triggered, sure. But what are you going to do with that emotions? How are you going to respond? Choose joy and choose it again and again. It's a choice you make over and over, every moment, every day, every hour, however often that you need to make it. So, anyhow, thank you for listening, and think about today and tomorrow and the next day how you can choose joy despite life coming at you. Have a good one, and share, like, subscribe, send somebody over to this podcast, share it, comment. What would you like to hear me talk about? For the wife mom bosses up there, what would you like to hear? How do you practice joy? Have a good one. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I'm licensed in 13 states. I accept Aetna in Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoy Note to help you on your wellness journey. Also check out Inspire Joy for the wife, mom, boss to help you balance it all without losing yourself. Better yet, get the full Joy bundle for just $45. Remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, may you continue to transform stress into joy.